Far beyond the rim of the familiar galaxy, on the shimmering azure orb of Midol, a battle was unfolding, one not born of swords or blasters, but of elemental forces, invisible wars waged in the air and soil of a world ancient and enigmatic. For countless cycles, Midol had floated as the garden of the cosmos, a bastion of tranquil wisdom, governed by queens and guarded by the legendary reptilian guard. That calm today was shattered. It started as a whisper across the force frequencies, sensor echoes of something unnatural in orbit, crescendos of energy as holographic squadrons of attackers materialized across the sky. The reptilian guards, 9 feet tall with scales that shimmered like emeralds laced with starlight, stood sentry at Midol's sacred gates. Their biometric crests pulsed in warning. An incursion was imminent from the direction of Manup, a planet both feared and ridiculed across the spiral arms. Manup, the male planet, glittered with chrome megacities and roared with rivers of pure jet fuel. Its mountains were hewn by brute force, its valleys fogged by the clash of sporting titans and bombastic contests of primal dominance. The Manupians, their bodies dense with muscle fiber and saturated with testosterone, had long grown restless in their martial paradise. Their leaders, grandmasters of bluster and bravado, had convinced themselves that conquest was their birthright. What they lacked in subtlety, they made up for in overwhelming force. Their weapons were not just kinetic, but chemical, massive dispensers designed to rain raw, synthesized testosterone upon their enemies, destabilizing any ecosystem, any society not armored in their own image. Midol stood in silent but unwavering contrast. Its surface was awash in gentle hills, glittering silver lakes, and the legendary estrogen farms, the true pulsing heart of the planet. Stretched across undulating valleys, these farms were more garden than industry. Glass biodomes glimmered in indigo dawns, bursting with rows of pastel orchids and iridescent blue ferns. Within these living chambers, alchemists, botanists, and wise old caretakers nurtured the rarest flowers and bioengineered vines, the planet's main source of estrogenic vitality. Transparent irrigation streams trickled over crystalline roots, infusing the air with a fragrant mist, both calming and invigorating. It was here that Midol's people drew their strength, care, empathy, intellect, and harmony, made tangible in the very lifeblood of their world. But now, with the first wave of Manup's holographic jet fighters piercing the clouds, the very air thrummed with peril. A grey rain of testosterone capsules descended, shattering domes and laying waste to once pristine fields. Vibrant hues drained from the valley, petals shriveled, the sweet scents replaced by something acrid and unsettling. Crops failed in minutes. The bioalchemists scrambled, desperate to shield the rootstocks, but the relentless pounding overwhelmed their efforts. Alarm bells and psychic warnings pulsed across the surface. Midol's estrogen farms, the source of stability for the whole sector, teetered at the edge of ruin. With the farms crippled and the planet's defenses stretched thin, hope turned skyward. A call went out through ancient channels, those attuned to the oldest wavelengths of the Force. It was answered by the most unlikely and marvelous of defenders, the kaiju, towering creatures with bodies of impossible geometry and spines that rippled with every shade in the chromatic spectrum. They were feared and revered, keepers of balance, brought into alliance with the Jedi only in the rarest of cataclysms. And it was here, on the frostbitten edge of the galactic north, the Arctic Stargate, where all manner of being had gathered. The Jedi Elders' Council presided atop translucent thrones, faces serene, but eyes alive with anticipation. The kaiju fanned behind them, rainbow spike spines vibrating in harmonic resonance with the oscillating force. Around their feet bustled a dazzling menagerie. Crows and seagulls cawed amidst honey badgers, eyeing skunks with amused suspicion. Raccoons twirled sparkling fireworks. Ducks and loons whispered ancient songs. Every living thing was attuned to the strange, electric pulse in the air that day. And then the Stargate pulsed open, a swirl of light and frost. Through it stepped the reptilian guards, two giants, scales reflecting not just light, but swirling memory and prophecy. They bowed low, announcing the presence of royalty. Princess Lana entered with regal bearing. Her silk dress shimmered with every conceivable color, as if woven from auroras and nebulae. Her bright eyes carried both sorrow and resolve, her smile one of dignity in defiance. She stood tall before the assembly, every color and every kaiju spine seeming to echo her urgency.
"Great guardians of the Jedi Kaiju Alliance," she began, her voice ringing clear despite the weight in her words. "My world, our world, is burning. The Man-Up legions have turned our gifts against us. Our estrogen farms lie dying, our harmony is fractured, our survival in peril. I come not as a supplicant, but as your kin in stewardship of life itself. Will all of you, stand with Midol?"
The chamber, silent for a heartbeat, thrummed with infinite possibility. The battle for Midol, for balance, for the very heart of harmony, had truly begun. With unity forged in the face of annihilation, the Guardians of the Galaxy prepared to make their stand. Through the ancient passage they would travel, a wave of hope against a tide of aggression. Their destination, Midol. Their purpose, to restore balance. On wings of starlight and scales of ancient power, the Jedi Kaiju Alliance pierced the veil, arriving on a world scarred but not broken. The tide of testosterone met an immovable object of harmonious resolve. And on desecrated soil, life, emboldened by the Force, began to stir anew. The battle for Midol and for balance had truly, finally, turned.